Hey everybody, it's Jeannie from Jeannie's Palette, and today I am painting with Take 5, and our theme for the day is make something new. Now I'm starting out on this 8x10 canvas with just plain blue, primary blue paint, turquoise that I picked up from Dollar General. It is all acrylic paint. Doing my edges first because I think that finishes it. I know that finishes it out better than having that white on the edge and going back and trying to do it later. So that's what we do. Start out, get those edges, but we are doing things new in honor of the new year. This playlist is hosted by Mary from the Painted Peach, Christy from Funky Junk Inspiration, and myself. And I may be taking a little bit of creative liberties on what I'm doing. I was thinking not just a new project or renewing a painting, but how about a painting that is inspired by the best new thing that can happen to any of us, and that is knowing Christ as our Savior. So my project, my painting, is going to be inspired by the new life that we all have once we ask Jesus into our heart. So I'm going to speed it up here and get this canvas painted. Now, as you can see with this dry, there are an awful lot of brush strokes in there. That's because my canvas was really wet with paint when I kept adding new colors on. So now I'm going to just grab some white and a little bit of blue, maybe a touch of that turquoise, just all those on my brush. And we're going to see what we can do to lighten up that center. So I have used my small palette knife to just put some white and blue on top. You did see me there brushing on some more blue and black, trying to give it a little bit more dimension. And now I'm going to go to the sides, trying to change that background up a bit. Now, I focus a lot on my backgrounds simply because I think it just enhances a painting so much if it has a nice background. So you do need to do this. I'm trying to do it when it's still wet. Acrylic paint dries very, very quickly. And so like this, we can just keep layering paint on. We can layer some more of that darker blue. But again, I'm going to want my center to be lighter so that my actual subject matter is going to show up well. And again, this is a Take 5 playlist, and I do hope that you will check out my description so that you can see the link and see all the other creatives who have posted a video to this playlist today, especially my friends Mary from the Painted Peach, Christy from Funky Junk Inspiration, who are the co-hosts with me. And oh, I think it's already looking so much better here. So I'm just using that flat edge of my palette knife and giving it some dimension. And while we're waiting on that to dry, I'm going to show you a painting I did yesterday, also on YouTube. The background is very much like that, and I just fell in love with those colors. So I'm going to use those colors on this one. Alright, so let's lighten up this center. I'm going to use my palette knife to do that, and a little bit of white and turquoise. Now I do have to do quite a bit of drying time in between. It's not as soon as I paint, I keep adding paint. Now, sometimes that is a look that we want, but once there's so much on there, it starts to just blend together and ends up looking more like a new color, and we don't want that. So I did have to dry it a little bit, let it dry, and then start back with adding some more color around. And right now I'm just adding some white around and kind of a, and I may pick up some blue because there's still some blue touch in that white. That's okay. I'm just going to get this around here, and we may touch it up even more afterwards. The paintings, you may have a plan for what you want to do with them, but they kind of develop a life of their own, and you have to adapt to that and go with it. So I did turn my canvas upside down. I think this darker area on the bottom is going to look better for the bottom part, and the white up here. So keep an eye on your canvas and how the paint goes as you're putting it on. I may go back and do some finishing touches on this edge. I'm not liking how much of a contrast that is to the front, so that's something we can do afterwards, so you can see what we got going on here. Now I have some red ochre and some burnt sienna, which are very close to each other. Of course, my black has oozed over into it, and then a dark titanium. These three paints are Master's Touch. All of these other paints are craft paints, so we can mix if we want. Now I've got some red and yellow on here with the blue. We may make a darker brown that'll end up looking like that. We'll see how these two or three go for our painting. Alright, so I'm going to grab just a little bit of one of those darker browns on the tip of my palette knife, and I'm going to make a heart on here, and that's going to be the base of our painting. I don't want it to be too dark in case I make a mistake, and sometimes I will actually use chalk, and that helps a lot in how me controlling mistakes. That's what I wanted to say. Alright, so we've got this. We've got that heart on there, kind of, and let's get started on making that look like something. So what I've tried to do here is to create a vine shape on my heart. So I did the heart, and then I grabbed that titanium white and a little bit of the other colors. This is a small brush, so it's hard to get a lot on there, and I just kind of wrap around that original heart. Now what we'll do each time, we'll just keep adding some paint to it to try to make it stand out a little bit more. We'll just change colors up and just keep on layering. So I did decide that the round brush that I was using was just a tad bit too big for these thorns that I'm trying to put on this heart. And you know where this story is going, the crown of thorns that Jesus wore. So this is a heart that shows his love for us and wearing that. So now I have got some white paint and a little blue, and I'm trying to blend out some of the too bigness, but I'm really liking how this brown is pulling away from the heart. So I think I'm going to try to play on that and do a little bit more of it. So I'm just grabbing my white and my blue and just working on that while it's still wet and just pulling it out, just making the thorns smaller. I did go back with my liner brush to do quite a few of them, so just keep working on this and just lightly brushing it away as I get up close to it where it's wet. Now, if you liked your background like it is, you could simply let it dry and then go in and do all that touch up. That's the amazing thing about working with acrylics. Very forgiving and easy to cover up things that we don't like so much. Alright, so what you're going to see me doing now, I just have a very tiny bit of white on the back of my palette knife. I just want to mute this just a little bit, and I'm just going to drag over it. Some of it's still wet. I'm okay with that. I want it to still be there, but in the background. So I'm very, very, very lightly dragging over that crown that is now a heart, and just kind of muting it just a little bit. And you'll see now I'm going, this is how I paint, y'all. Just as I go, I decide how things should go. I have in my mind an image, and it doesn't always end up as I anticipate. So I think this is sometimes an accident happens where I smudge the paint and I'm like, oh, I love that. Now I'm really, really, really liking this, and I'm going to keep working on that, and then we'll move on to the last part. Alright, let's take a closer look so you can see what it looks like up close. You can still see I have some thorns there, but it's more blending into the background. And let's take a distant look at it. I love how it's turning out. Looks perfect. Alright, let's move on. Okay, so now I'm going to take my palette knife, just so I got a little bit more control of my paint. Oh, I got paint all over the back of my palette. Now it's on my hand. So I'm just going to take that burnt sienna, just one of the darker browns. I'm going to start right about here, and we're just going to come straight down. You know what? Maybe I'll just grab my little round brush. I'll just commit, right? Just commit to it. I'm going to come straight down. And right about there. I'll grab a little bit more. And we're going to come this way. And then kind of close. I may need to put my pinky on there so I got a little bit more balance. I'm going to come a little bit further this way away from that one and in before I get to the end of that. And then, not only is this the cross, but it's also the nails. So I'm just going to put that up there. This one here. There. And now I'm just going to tidy this up a little bit, add a little more brown, and we'll speed that up for you. Okay, so I may be screwing up here, but I think I'm going to give a little bit of outline to my heart that is almost gone. I still like the look of that far away in the background with the cross and the 3 nails there. So I am going to take my little liner brush. We're going to see how this goes. Now I'm going to grab some of the red ochre. Just a little bit on there. Kind of roll my brush so that I'm not getting any big blobs. And I'm just going to ever so lightly reshape my heart. Let me roll that every time. It does take quite a bit of paint off the brush, but I don't want to get a blob that I'm going to have to fix. So I'm going to do that. I did like the look of the thorns. Might do something else later as far as that goes. but I'm loving how this looks. You just have to go with your gut on what's going to look best. And I'm really loving how this looks with it more muted. So just gonna ever so lightly. Never been able to do a heart that was the same on both sides. I don't know, just can't do it. Alright, now I'm gonna grab a little tiny bit of red. I think some red in there would be nice. Just roll it so there's not a lot. Just kind of hit the highlights each time you dip the liner brush. Just roll it on your palette so it gets rid of some of the excess. I think that red is a nice warm tone, so it's gonna complement that brown or red ochre that we've used here. Hey, if we don't like it, we can always paint over it, right? Always paint right back over it. And that. I like the red, I think. I think I do. Let's get some up here. A little bit more. I didn't take a big stroke because I didn't want to commit, I guess. Let's grab a little tiny bit of yellow. Put some of that in there. Just very lightly at the tip of my brush. Tiny little liner brush. Look at that. Oh yeah. I think it's making a world of difference, and you know, I'm gonna leave that part in there with the thorns and the twisted vine because for you to see, because I want you to see that you can change your mind, and it's okay to change your mind midway you're painting. Now I have the dark titanium. Just going back here. Now if you like this painting and these techniques, I hope you will come back and give my channel a subscribe. Check out everybody else in the playlist. And enjoy painting. Sometimes their paintings are just fun. Sometimes they have more depth and meaning, like I hope this one does for you. And I like it a lot. It's very pretty. I may now I'm thinking it's too that's too much. It's too much with all that other that I had taken off. So you know, old palette knife, a little bit of white. Look at there. So we can tone it down just a little bit. Just a little bit. We don't want it so stand out as much as our cross is. So I'm just going to, with a tiny bit, oh, that's too much, of white, tone it down some. Okay, I probably need to just take a step back from it for a bit. I may continue to do some things. Alright, so here it is, and I just want to remind you that with God, all things can be made new. No matter where you are in life, what you've done, He loves you, and He can make you new as long as you believe and accept Him into your heart and make that change. That's required. Alright, I hope you see something you like and you'll come back and subscribe and ring the bell. Don't forget to check out the rest of the playlist that's linked in my description. Ta-ta for now.